new series where we are going to look to try and collect as much of the most expensive and rare loot we possibly can in the game. Today we are standing outside Scholomance, and this is where we're going to be running today's instance. So for the first video of this series, as I said in the introduction video, we're going to run through this slow time on the first loop. For anyone that's not particularly familiar with the dungeon, go through it incredibly slowly, show you what you need to bear in mind if you're looking to farm this and some of the loot and stuff inside the dungeon. So why are we in Scholomance? What we're looking to collect today on the screen, highlighted in yellow, is the only item in this instance which I do not have as yet, which is the cold stone slippers. That's a piece I'm going to be looking at. Now, in terms of the cold stone slippers, I believe it's around about an EU market average value of about 50,000 gold. So it's not the most expensive piece in the dungeon, not by a long way, but it's the one piece which I still actually haven't got yet. So let's bin this off, get back into the dungeon itself. Okay, and it also gives me a good opportunity to introduce the first of my hunting gathering team. This is Karakachian. He is my druid on Tower Mill, who's going to be responsible for doing probably most of the work on this series, going around and collecting bits and pieces from the dungeons. Now, anyone who's not familiar where Scholomance is, let me just show you on the map. Okay, so we're in Eastern Kingdoms, towards the top of Eastern Kingdoms, and in this lake area here, you have got Scholomance there. So it's in Western Plaguelands, and it's on this little island there. So if you're Alliance, the easiest way of probably getting up here is either go to Ironforge or what's it called? Stormwind. Go to Ironforge or Stormwind and probably fly up here. If you're Horde, probably the easiest way is to go to Kalimdor, go to Orgrimmar, and then either catch a Zeppelin over to Eastern Kingdoms, or probably even easier, go up into this area up here on the top where the flight path is, and then you've got a tower up here, I think it might be this one actually, which gives you the opportunity to get a portal to Undercity, and when in Undercity you'll be able to just come here quite easily, and Undercity is over in this area, so you'll be able to just come across like that. They'd be the ways I would look to come across. So let's have a look at Scholomance itself. Scholomance is a very, very straightforward dungeon. It's very, very quick. Not a great deal to it. There's a few things to bear in mind, and I'll talk about them as we go through. So the entrance is just here. You can kind of see where I am on the map at the moment. If I take off, you can see it's just basically one building surrounded by a wall, surrounded by some mountains in the lake. If you come down here, you've got the meeting stone there, and the entrance is just in here. Okay, so let's get into it. We go through the door on the left hand side, the Scholomance door, open that up, and then as you go on the right hand side you'll see a portal, and that's where we're going to go. Now, as I was saying, the dungeon is very, very quick. It's probably going to take, in terms of if I was going through it at a really quick pace, no more than say 4, 5, 6 minutes to go through. But as I said, first time, let's do this quite slowly and methodically. So let's go into what's in the loot to begin with, give you an idea. So in terms, what we're interested in really is the zone drops, the BOEs. We're not particularly interested in any of the loot which the bosses drop. We're just interested in the zone drop, and that applies to all the dungeons in this series. So as you can see on here, I have collected all of these, which is annotated by this blue tick, with the exception of this one, the cold stone slippers. Let's go through them one at a time. So the Belt of the Ordained it's got an appearance shared with another couple of pieces as well. This has got an EU region market average value of 171,000, so it's quite expensive. And there's one currently listed on Tower Mill for pretty much what it is. In fact, is that mine? I think it's actually, is that my belt? That I might actually own that one myself, which is on the auction house. We've got the Bone Brace Hauberk, which again shares some more appearances from green items. Some of them are quite common, so potentially if you're just going after a shared appearance and you're not after the unique appearance, if you do find this one in Scholomance, it might be better to sell this one. Again, this has got a region's market value average of 275,000. It's going for pretty much out on my server at the moment. The Cold Stone Slippers, which are worth roughly about 50,000, and they're extinct on my auction house at the moment. You have got a enchanting recipe, which is dungeon specific to this dungeon. Not very expensive at all, it's worth about 300 gold, and I dare say even on the first run we'll probably pick one of these up. It's very easy to get. We've also got the Icy Tomb Spolders, and they are extinct on my auction house at the moment, but they've got a region market value average of 403,000. I'll talk about them again in a second. We've got the Malefic Braces, which are again extinct on my auction house, a region market value average of 400,000. And finally we've got the Tattered Leather Hood, which again shares some more, it shares its appearance with some more common greens. It's worth 153,000. It's going for 89,000 in my auction house at the moment. But again, this one isn't particularly as desirable because you can just get the appearance from like the Dreg Hood Coal or the Daggerfang Coal. Now, the Icy Tomb Spolders. If I go into my bag, I actually have a set which I haven't equipped, and I'll tell you the fun. This is why we're in Scholomance as a first dungeon. So the original plan was I was going to kick the series off by going to Alderman. It's got the most expensive loot. It's probably going to take me the longest out of all the dungeons to try and complete. However, yesterday when I was running this dungeon, just to get my head set about what to do, what to talk about, make sure I was fully up to speed on this one because I haven't run this one in a while. Lo and behold, this dropped yesterday. So I do actually have one of these in my bags. Now, it's not the only one. You can see on the tooltip there as well that my other druid, Halimi, who is more specific to, I've changed to more like the gathering druid, mining and herbalism, she has one as well. So I originally got the appearance of this, which is a unique appearance on Halimi, which I learnt, and I haven't got rid of it out of my bags. I thought it would be a nice keepsake to throw in a bank. And then yesterday I picked another one up. So hopefully I haven't exhausted all my luck by picking up this, very expensive item yesterday. But what I need to do is send this to my banker, get this on the auction house to get this sold. It's not going to be included in any of the stats looking at this dungeon, but it does just show that these things do drop because I picked one up literally yesterday when I was practicing running the dungeon. And that's why we're in Scholomance now, so I can get that shifted and move on. Okay, so anyway, enough talk about the loot, let's look at the dungeon itself. So I'm going to be running this on a druid, and I'll explain it at the end of the dungeon why. So when you come through the door, you've got a very short corridor here where you've got 2 risen guards there. So you can kill both of those guys, no worries about this, and loot them. You then have a metal gate, which you open. As soon as you open this up, you get the first boss saying class is now in session, and then you come down into this sort of terrace down here. Now, the thing to note, this is the boss here, Instructor Chillheart. None of this stuff in this dungeon is going to kill you. However, what you want to be very mindful of is not to kill her straight away. You need to kill her last, because as soon as you kill her, she'll activate a freeze effect, which will just basically kill everyone in the dungeon. You can't loot them. So we're going to go down here, kill all these guys, kill and loot. Kill these guys. Again, be very mindful, try not to kill Instructor Chillheart. Come over in this area, kill these guys. Kill that one over there. Then round on the other side of this dungeon, so again, sticking really close by to the wall so I don't accidentally swipe her. Get this back over here. Okay, so I talked about that dungeon specific formula. There it is, Major Versatility. We picked one up already, so it doesn't take too long. So now we've killed everything in the dungeon with the exception of these 2. One of them was attracted to me over there, so we can go and pick these 2 off. And that's it. So that's all of the trash in this first room kills. What you then do is you can kill the Instructor. You can see the Vice Freeze effect, which will literally kill everything inside the dungeon. She's dead. You then hit this green container. That's done. So then you pick up the loot from this. And that's as simple as it is. As I said, if you come around here and accidentally kill this pack and get her at the same time, the freeze effect will happen, everything will die, and you then can't loot it. So that's it. So once you've done that, you then head towards the back left of the corner of the room where this gate opens. Then you move further into the instance. You've got 1 risen guard here who you can kill before you move into the next room. Now this next room has got a number of these brittle skeletons, and it's got a number of these bigger guys called the reanimated corpses. Now you can see on the tooltip in the bottom right corner, these guys don't prepare to drop anything. They don't drop anything. They have no loot table as far as I'm aware. While these reanimated corpses do have the option of dropping some loot. So they're the ones we're looking to try and kill. So again, if you're high enough level, you're not going to get swamped by these. You've got some more mobs here, candlestick mages, all of them. Leave these guys. We'll come around on this side. You get one of these reanimated corpses back here, so we'll just kill him. Don't worry too much about these. I'm more than happy just to drag these through. Another reanimated corpse. Kill him. You get 2 standing in this area, so I'll just kill one of those. Leave these guys. And finally, you have another 3 of these candlestick mages over here, which you can kill and loot all of those. So that's it. Again, you don't need to worry about these guys because they don't drop anything. You then have the second boss, and Jandy's Bavrov, who you can just kill like this, very straightforward, and get the loot from her. Okay, once that's done, so that's the Hall of Illusions room done, you then move into the next room. And this is going to be where the third boss is going to be. So what we're looking to kill are the bone weavers around the side of the room. So you need to kill 6 of those. And you stand in the middle one, you can loot all 3 of them at the same time. That's all the loot gone. And again, we have the same on the other side of the room. So just go and kill these guys, girls, go and grab them, loot the central one, and that's it. So we've got a green item from that. Let's bring up, I haven't even got loot appraiser on. Oh, it was on, it just wasn't on the screen. And then you get all these skeletons who will all run around from these bone heap piles, and they'll run towards the centre. While that happens, you then have the third boss come up, who is Rattlegore. And you can see the gate at the back there is locked. We need to kill him. Kill him, we loot him, and then the gate opens. And that's as simple as that. So you kill the 3 mobs on the side of the walls, 3 mobs on the side of those walls, kill Rattlegore, and then you can move forward. Okay, so when you enter the next room, Butcher's Sanctum, you've got all these sort of humanoids, and you've got these flesh horrors. Now these take a few whacks because I've got these meat grafts on them. Just for your own awareness, where I picked up the Isotomb Spolders when I run this yesterday was, I think, was one of these mobs here. So it's either one of these guys. That's where I picked it up from. I then run around this side. You have some more mobs over there. Kill these guys. This big guy. And then you've got a gate. Now, at this stage, what I'd recommend is just open the gate, because then that starts a little cinematic down the bottom there, which takes a few seconds. You don't need to be that interested in that. Carry on running clockwise around the room, killing the rest of this trash over here. Again, he just takes a few whacks. Loot him. And then we'll just kill the last ones in there. Pick up another green iron. Okay, so that's that room completely cleared. Again, if you're doing this quickly, sometimes there might just be a mob or 2 that you've tried loot and it hasn't registered, so it might just be worth just having a check around. But once that's done, you then come down here. So this is a cinematic. We've got the Dark Master Gandling, and then we've got Lillian Foss. Sometimes the cinematic should have been over by now, but for whatever reason it actually hasn't gone through. This is the boss, but actually this is the one we're going to kill. So again, just defeat her. She's defeated. Then that opens a little trap, a little gate over here for where the loot is. Coffer of Forgotten Souls. Come on, open that. Get your loot. And then we move around this side to where this door opens over here. We then enter another room, which is called the Viewing Room. There's a lot of mobs in here. The easiest way I find of doing it is just run up to the first table, hit all those. Run to the second table, hit all those. If you stand on this table, you can generally hit all those as well. And you can see all the loot should more or less be got at this stage. Just make sure I haven't left anything. No, so it's all gone. And then I take a right up to these steps, a couple of swipes up here, loot them, and that is it. So at this stage, what I'm going to be doing on my druid is I'm then going to be dreamwalking back out of the instance and then dreamwalking back, which will take me to the front gate of the instance, Scholomance. What you can do, if you're new to the dungeon and you want to go and collect all the boss's loot, you've got one guy down here who I don't think drops anything worthwhile as far as I'm ever aware. You can go kill him. There's another gate down here which will take you towards the final boss.
If you haven't come,
that's the final boss for Dark Master Gandalin. You can go and kill him, and then you can get the loot of him, and that's it. Now, if you're not a druid, or you haven't got the option of sort of teleporting out of a dungeon and teleporting back, I'm afraid you've now got to make your way all the way back to where we just come from, which won't take too long, maybe about 60 seconds. You have to run all the way back through here, back through the viewing room, back up here, through the doors. In fact, I'll do it. I'll show you the way to go. Back to where we defeated Lillian Voss. Up here. Now, obviously being a druid, I can speed up a little bit. Back through here. This is where we killed Rattlegore. Again, the advantage of doing this is if you have missed any loot and you are going to run back through again, you can see potentially if there's any dead bodies which you haven't looted. Obviously, I've done this first run incredibly slowly just to show you if you weren't aware of what to look for. And you go back into this first room and then up the stairs. Back into this first corridor where we killed the 2 guards who were guarding the front door. We hook a left here, and that's us. So in terms of the dungeons, it's not the longest to go away from the end all the way to the start. And for when I do this, for your own awareness, once I killed that last pack in the back of the room, I'm not going to bother with the last 2 mobs because they're kind of like bosses. I've got all the loot I need from those guys, so that's going to be it. So what you can then do there is you can reset the instance, and if you want to go and see what loot you've got, you can have a look. So let's just have a quick look at what we have picked up. Obviously, some of this is going to be soul-bound stuff, which we'll need to get rid of. We picked up that recipe, which is worth 300 gold, so that, for me, I wouldn't look to sell. Picked up the Ranger leggings of a quick blade. I've already got the appearance of. Again, for me, that would just be trash. Another pair of boots there, I've already collected, 300 gold, not interested in that. And a pair of cloth boots, which again I would get rid of. So the rest of this is utter trash. What you do get if you've got a tailor and you want to collect some cloth, you do get a lot of silk cloth and you get a lot of mage weave cloth. Both of the cloths are cheap as chips, so if you actually just want to buy it off the auction house, you can do rather than clogging your bag up. It's entirely up to you. But if you want to collect a cloth, send it to someone who can actually use it, you've got that option as well. So that first run through took me 10 minutes 3 seconds. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this dungeon another 9 times, which will give me my sort of 10 of 10, or 10 of 9 as it'll say on there. And then once I've done that, any highlights I'll show you, and at the end I'll show you the loot bag and show you what I've got, what I'm going to keep the packs to put on the auction house. So until then, I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so that's the 10 runs done. It took me, you knock a couple of minutes off this because I've been selling some of the junk which I've picked up. Let's have a look what we've got. It'll come as probably no surprise, there's no highlights in this first 10 runs. There's been no dungeon specific blues from Scholomance. The only dungeon specific thing I got was this enchant, the 2-handed weapon major versatility, which I got a total of 5 times. And in fact, I think the second dungeon I did, the very first one after the introduction run, I got 3 of them literally in the first few mobs. So if you're after that enchant, they drop very, very easily. If you do 10 runs, I am guaranteed that you're going to pick at least one of those up. Now, the greens were again particularly poor. I've kept probably the 4 best ones just to show you sort of just how bad they are. I got the Sorcerer's Drape Hair, which is worth about 4k. Field Plate Girdle, about 2,000. Another 2,000 for the Captain's Buckler of the Quick Blade, and another 2,000 for the Black Forward Gauntlets. All of which I've already collected, and none of which I'm going to keep. So I'm going to bin those off for now. I'm going to leave the last one. In fact, no, let's get rid of that as well. So got rid of all of those. In fact, that one can go as well. That Ember Wand. Now I did pick up a load of cloth, as I suggested at the beginning. I am going to keep all of that and send it through to a tailor I've got, who's a newbie tailor. And the pattern which I've got at the bottom here as well is also a tailor-on pattern. So it's not worth a great deal of gold. But I don't know whether that tailor specifically has got it, although I have learned that pattern previously, so I'm going to send that to her as well. And finally, I did pick up 3 lock boxes as well, so that's going to go to my rogue, who will open those up at a later date. You also do get the Essence of Undeath. You get quite a few of those in this dungeon. I picked 16 of them up. Now, they are worth, on my auction house at the moment, 1,000 gold. So it might just be worth having a look to see what they're worth on your auction house and decide whether you're going to keep them or get rid of them. You can see it again looking at the tooltip, they are used in a lot of recipes, blacksmithing, tailoring, leatherworking. So it might be something I just keep and use myself at a later date, or I look to sell. At this price I'll probably look to sell those on. So that's it in terms of this dungeon. First 10 runs of this have drawn a blank in terms of what I need, although I only need one item, which were the cold stone slippers, and we've got nothing of any great value to sell. 38,516 was the total for all the greens, currency looted of 859. I think the first run took me just over 10 minutes. It was a slow run, and then the rest, I think I finished in about 45 minutes. So you're probably looking at about 35 to 40 minutes, depending on what sort of character you run on. Obviously, a druid, you can just dream walk out. So what I'm going to do to wrap this video off is just going to talk through the add-ons which I use and a couple of other top tips. So if you're happy with the add-ons and you just wanted to just see what loot I've got, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. If you want to hear about the add-ons, I'll just talk about them now. Okay, so in the very first video I talked about the 4 add-ons I use, which was All the Things, Trade Skill Master, Loot Appraiser and Scrap. So let's look at them one by one. So All the Things is this little box up here, and I've got, well, you can annotate it from over this direction, so if you just go on that and click on right click, this brings it up. So what does All the Things do? It basically collects all of the appearances, all the sort of plans, recipes, transmog, mounts, everything, achievements, and then you can select down here which things you want to track. So I've turned a lot of the bits and pieces off. I'm not interested in some of the things. Some things I am more interested in. So you can see on this, for instance, the Forsaken Trooper Arm Guards I haven't collected, and I get that by doing that quest there. So that's how I know where I do it. So when I go into the dungeon and you can see the dungeon specific blues on there, that's how I know whether I'll land it or not. And when you do collect it, you then have to send it to a character who can use it and then collect the appearance, and then it'll remember that as well. So if I turn off, at the moment I am on got show collected things. If I tick this off, which will be for sort of later videos once I go through the and show everyone what dungeon specific blues there are, these are the things you can kind of see. So if I look at Western Plaguelands, again this isn't Scholomance, I'm more in the zone now, you can kind of see what things I still need to collect. So from the Argent Quartermaster, there's a number of plans, recipes, formulas which I still need to get. All of this is rep dependent, and there's a few other bits and pieces as well. So this one here, for instance, this is just a vendor one. You just need to find him and get it. So it's a very useful, it's a very useful add-on just to see what you've got and what you haven't got. Basically, this is what this series is about. It's collecting the things I haven't got. So that's All the Things. Let's click Show Collected Things on again, because again, until I've done every dungeon, we've talked through the blues, I'll keep that switched on. The other one is Trade Skill Master and the Loot Appraiser. Trade Skill Master is a very famous add-on by now. If you're looking to sell anything on the auction house, it's very sort of well recommended. I'm not going to go into that in any great detail. Just make sure if you do download it from the Trade Skill Master website itself, and make sure you download your server data. So I'm on Taran Mill, I'm on Macferidon, and I'm on Silvermoon, so I've got all of that data as well as all of the EU data as well. So that's all on there, and it updates roughly every hour, so you can kind of see the updated prices. And you need that for Loot Appraiser. So when Loot Appraiser is here, I can access it through just like a button on the bag. Let's go into the settings on this. Now what I've done in terms of the settings, I've got the region market value average set there, so everything you see come up. So let's look at Ranger Risk Guards. You can see the region market value average about 705, and that's why it's annotated at 705. I've also got on there, I can auto sell the grey items, auto repair gear when you go to a repair guy. The notifications, I've got my gold alert threshold. That is what you set to get the alert coming up on the screen. I've got that set at 5,000, so it needs to be a minimum region market value average of 5,000 for any alerts to come up, and then with the audio that you want annotated to that as well. And I've got the quality filter set as uncommon, which I recommend. There might be some fake value sort of white items, potions, food items, which might be set as like 1,000,000, which will be pinging up. So set that as uncommon as well. And I think that is it for that. So that's that one. And then finally, scrap. So if I go into my vendor over here, I've got an icon there to sell junk. And all I need to do, and I've left these recipes for a reason, is I've got a key on my computer, which I can just press, which now annotates. You can see that annotates all of those recipes as junk. And you can see it's, we can't see my cameras down here. but it's all annotated as junk. And then when I go onto this, click onto sell junk, all those old enchants will go, and that's them done. So every time you go and do a new dungeon or new content, you can annotate what you want as junk, and then that'll automatically go. What you need to do is to go into interface and basically allocate a key for scrap. That is it. That's the first dungeon done. Second dungeon will most likely be Alderaan. Obviously, I haven't recorded it yet. I'll go there because that's going to be like probably the biggest dungeon in the series in terms of collecting bits and pieces. But slow start to begin with. At my 52 card deck for the loops, we have failed to get any of the first ones in the first run of Scholomance, which is no great surprise. I'm going to get more misses than I'm going to do hits, and I've got nothing worth selling. So not a lot to write home about so far in terms of this first video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully the people who have never done Scholomance before and never looked at farm stuff, you've picked a few tips up from this. If you've got any questions, feel free to throw them in the comment section and I'll try and answer them the best I can. Until next time, thanks.